Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. Today's topic is one that separates the grounded, emotionally intelligent man from the desperate, needy pursuer. We're going to reveal here's how to trigger women's fear of losing you. If you've ever felt like you're always the one chasing, proving, convincing, or begging for validation, you're in the right place. Because today, we won't be talking about cheap mind games or manipulation. We're talking about genuine inner transformation that makes her realize you are the prize. This video isn't for men who want a shortcut or a pickup line. This is for men who want to master their presence, build unshakable self-worth, and understand the deep psychological forces that drive attraction. We're going to break it down into 4 powerful chapters. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Loss and Scarcity, Why It Works. Chapter 2. Historical Lessons, Kings, Warriors, and the Art of Presence. Chapter 3. Emotional Intelligence, Communicating Boundaries Without Words. Chapter 4. Modern Application, How to Build an Irreplaceable Life. She fears losing. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to cultivate the kind of magnetic presence that makes her fear losing you. Not because you threatened or manipulated her, but because you truly embody a life of purpose, self-respect, and value. If you're ready to stop chasing and start attracting, then stay with us through the entire video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you find this valuable, and leave a comment below to let us know your thoughts, your struggles, or your victories. Let's get started. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Loss and Scarcity. Why it works. Human beings are wired for survival, and with that comes a deep psychological response to scarcity, especially in relationships. When something feels abundant, we take it for granted. When something feels rare or uncertain, it suddenly becomes precious. That's the law of scarcity. And this law doesn't just apply to money or food, it applies powerfully to emotional connection, love, and attraction. Women, like men, are biologically and emotionally tuned to respond to loss aversion. The fear of losing something valuable is more intense than the desire to gain something new. Studies in behavioral psychology, including the famous research by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, showed that people will fight twice as hard to avoid loss than to achieve gains. So what does this mean for men? It means that when you're always available, always texting back instantly, and always prioritizing her over your mission, she begins to perceive your value as less. Not because she's ungrateful, but because human psychology operates on contrast. Without the possibility of loss, there is no appreciation. This is why mystery, independence, and boundaries are so attractive. A man who triggers a woman's fear of losing him doesn't do it by manipulation or by playing games. He does it by being centered in his purpose, by living a life so full, so rich in meaning that she realizes he is not easily replaced. He's not just another guy, he's a man of value, and if she loses him, it's her loss, not his. Let's look at how this plays out emotionally. When a woman senses that a man's life doesn't revolve around her, that he has goals, discipline, a strong brotherhood, and passions she doesn't control, her subconscious begins to scan for the threat of absence. Not because she's insecure, but because women are biologically tuned to assess male stability, self-worth, and whether the man can lead himself. And here's the paradox: the less you try to make her stay, the more she feels the urgency not to lose you. You stop triggering her comfort zone and start triggering her attraction zone. But let's be clear, this doesn't mean being emotionally cold or distant for no reason. That's insecurity disguised as control. What we're talking about is emotional self-possession, the ability to remain calm, grounded, and fully in control of your time, energy, and direction. Let's take a simple example. You're dating a woman, and things seem to be going well. You like her, and naturally, you want to spend more time together. But instead of immediately rearranging your entire week around her schedule, you keep your non-negotiable routines, your gym, your reading time, your business, your mission. You don't explain or justify, you just live by your code. What happens? She sees that you're not willing to break your structure for short-term feelings. She feels both safe and intrigued. Safe because you're consistent and strong. Intrigued because you're not fully predictable. She starts wondering, if I don't prioritize this man, will someone else take my place in his life? And that, brother, is the seed of healthy fear of loss. Not fear created by threats or insecurity, but fear born from the reality that your presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. Let's take a quick look at history. When Cleopatra aligned herself with Julius Caesar, it wasn't just seduction, it was a recognition of power and presence. Caesar was a man of empire. He wasn't chasing her, he was building Rome. She came to him, and because he didn't place her above his legacy, she respected and desired him even more. This is a crucial lesson. When a woman sees that you belong to your mission first, she will fight to be part of that mission. But when you abandon your path for her, she loses respect, and respect is the foundation of attraction. Emotional intelligence plays a major role here. You don't have to say, "I'm high value." You show it through your actions. Through delayed responses when you're focused. Calm, non-reactive behavior during emotional storms. Boundaries without drama. Prioritizing your growth without guilt. These silent signals scream value. A man with emotional intelligence doesn't get rattled, doesn't argue to be understood, and doesn't beg for reassurance. He understands his worth is self-defined, not dependent on approval. And when a woman sees that she can't shake your center, she begins to fear losing access to that emotional strength. Remember, it's not the man who chases her that she remembers, it's the man she couldn't quite predict. To trigger a woman's fear of losing you, you must become the man she knows isn't afraid to walk away, not out of ego, but out of principle. Let your absence speak where your presence has already made an impact. Make her wonder where you are, not by disappearing, but by being so engaged with your life that she feels the gap when you're not there. This is how you build attraction rooted in reality, not performance. Comment: I do not chase, I attract through presence and purpose. Drop it below if you're done chasing and ready to build the kind of life she's afraid to lose. Chapter 2. Historical Lessons, Kings, Warriors, and the Art of Presence. If you want to trigger a woman's fear of losing you, study the men whose legends have outlived them by centuries. Because throughout history, the men most desired, most respected, and most unforgettable were not the ones who begged for love. They were the ones who built legacies, commanded respect, and radiated a calm, unyielding presence that made others adjust to them. This is not about being controlling or domineering. It's about being anchored, about understanding that the deepest attraction is not built on words, but on who you are when you don't need anything from her. 1 Alexander the Great, the unshakable vision. Let's begin with Alexander the Great. He conquered most of the known world before the age of 30. But beyond his military genius, there was something more subtle at work, his unwavering vision. He didn't pause his plans to appease his lovers or advisors. His passion was his mission. Historical accounts describe his love affair with Roxana, a princess of Bactria, as genuine and powerful. But Alexander didn't conquer Bactria for her. He met her along the way. His purpose came first, and she aligned herself with it. Men often think that to win a woman they must put her at the center of their life. The truth is, the center of your life must be your mission, because women fear losing men who have a destination, men who don't abandon their path for comfort or distraction. A man without direction invites disrespect. A man with unshakable vision attracts loyalty. 2 Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic Emperor. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher king. He wrote meditations not as a show of wisdom, but as private reminders to maintain his discipline and self-command in the face of chaos. He faced betrayal, war, plague, and family tragedy. And yet his writings are calm, reflective, and disciplined. Why do women respond to a man like this, even today? Because true masculine presence is rare. In a world of reactivity, drama, and insecurity, the man who can remain calm, think clearly, and maintain his purpose is magnetic. He doesn't need to threaten to leave. He doesn't play hot and cold. His steadiness is what makes the thought of losing him so terrifying. Because where will she find that again? Emotional stability is the most underrated form of attraction. 3. Samurai Code, the way of the warrior. In feudal Japan, the Bushido Code defined the samurai's life. At its core was honor, discipline, and presence. Samurai trained themselves to face death at any moment. They cultivated stillness under pressure. This didn't make them cold-hearted, it made them profoundly present. When a samurai gave his word, it meant everything. He didn't overpromise, he didn't seek validation, he lived by a code that was unshakable. Women of that era were drawn to men whose self-discipline proved they wouldn't betray their own principles. Because here's a truth modern men forget: she cannot trust a man who betrays himself. If you say you'll do something, do it. If you have boundaries, maintain them. If you want respect, embody it first. A man who lives by a personal code is rare, and that rarity makes losing him a fear she feels in her bones. The Power of Absence, Napoleon and Josephine. One of history's most passionate, tumultuous love stories is Napoleon Bonaparte and Josephine de Beauharnais. Napoleon adored Josephine. His letters to her are famously raw and intense, but Josephine, knowing his passion, sometimes maintained strategic distance. In his early campaigns, he wrote her daily, desperate for her attention, and she delayed responses. He wanted to possess her completely, and when she finally gave him that closeness, he treasured it all the more. But here's the twist. When Napoleon became emperor and focused on empire, Josephine feared losing him to ambition, to war, to other alliances. This dynamic reveals a deep truth. The man who gives everything instantly loses leverage. The man who gives selectively creates longing. Napoleon's drive to conquer Europe was not healthy in all ways, but it's undeniable that his ambition and intensity made Josephine fear life without him. 5. The art of presence. Overperformance. Modern men often think attraction means showing off, flashy clothes, money, words. But history rewards those who mastered their presence. Presence isn't loud, it doesn't brag. It's the quiet confidence that says, I know where I'm going. Come with me if you want, but I'll go there either way. This presence is what triggers fear of loss, because a woman knows you are not replaceable, you are not desperate, you will not wait forever. You might be thinking, okay, but I'm not a king, emperor, or samurai. True, but the principles still work. Have a mission. Don't make her your mission. Communicate calmly. Don't overreact. Set boundaries. Don't negotiate them away for validation. Honor your word. Build trust through consistency. Maintain self-discipline. Don't let comfort weaken your edge. When you embody these traits, you trigger a woman's fear of losing you, not because you threaten her, but because she knows you are rare. Comment: my mission comes first. I am the architect of my destiny. If you're ready to put your purpose at the center of your life, drop this in the comments below. Chapter 3. Emotional Intelligence. Communicating boundaries without words. If you want to truly trigger a woman's fear of losing you, you must master the subtle art of non-verbal communication. This is the realm of emotional intelligence, where boundaries are not declared aggressively, but felt unmistakably. Most men fail here. They think setting boundaries means giving ultimatums, making dramatic speeches, or threatening to walk away at the first sign of conflict. But true boundaries aren't about controlling her, they're about controlling yourself. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while also being aware of the emotions of others. It is the single most powerful tool a man can develop, not only to attract women, but to lead, build, and sustain real respect. Because at its core, a woman's fear of losing you is not rooted in fear of punishment. It is rooted in fear of losing access to a man who is so rare, so self-possessed, that she knows she will not easily find his like again. 1. The power of calm responses. The emotionally reactive man kills attraction. When she tests you, picks a fight, or pushes your buttons, the average man explodes or collapses. One moment he's yelling, the next he's apologizing, begging her to stay. But the man with emotional intelligence recognizes the test for what it is, a probe of his strength. She wants to know, can you hold your center when I lose mine? When you remain calm under pressure, you send a clear, unspoken message. I am in control of myself. You cannot make me betray who I am. That calmness triggers something primal in her. It tells her you're safe, steady, and worth respecting. And she knows if she loses you, she loses that solid ground she secretly craves. When she raises her voice, you lower yours. When she threatens to leave, you don't beg her to stay. When she tries to provoke, you smile knowingly. You're not playing games, you're demonstrating that you won't be dragged into emotional chaos. 2. Boundaries. Without explanations. Many men make the mistake of over-explaining their boundaries. They say things like, I need you to respect me because I've been hurt before. Please don't do this or I'll feel bad. This is rooted in seeking permission to have boundaries, but a man with emotional intelligence doesn't ask permission. He sets boundaries naturally, calmly, and often without saying a word. For example, if she disrespects you in public, you don't start a scene, you simply leave. If she crosses a line repeatedly, you reduce your availability. If she uses manipulation or threats, you disengage. You don't need to announce it. Your actions teach her everything she needs to know. This silent communication is incredibly powerful because it demonstrates self-respect without drama. She knows you won't fight to keep her at any cost, and that's what makes the idea of losing you so unsettling. 3. Never reward disrespect. One of the core principles of emotional intelligence in relationships is that what you allow is what will continue. A man who rewards disrespect with more effort, more gifts, or more reassurance teaches her that bad behavior works. If she stonewalls you, don't chase. If she insults you, don't argue, leave. If she threatens to leave, don't plead, let her. This isn't about being cold or punishing, it's about refusing to negotiate your self-respect. Women fear losing men who refuse to tolerate disrespect, because such men are rare. Most men will compromise their dignity for sex or validation. You want to be the man who will not. 4. The energy of abundance. Emotional intelligence is rooted in abundance. Men with scarcity mindset think, if she leaves, I'll be alone forever. So they overinvest, overcommit, and overpursue. But the man with abundance mindset knows, I want her, but I don't need her. I choose her, but I will be fine without her. This mindset radiates subtly in every interaction. You don't rush, you don't over-explain, you don't react from fear. Instead, you make deliberate choices because you know your value. Women are exceptionally attuned to this. They know when a man has options, even if he never says it. And that awareness triggers a quiet fear. If I don't respect him, someone else will. 5. Listening without losing. Frame. Emotional intelligence is not about being stoic to the point of coldness. It's about being able to truly listen without being controlled. When she shares her feelings, you don't dismiss or invalidate them. You hear her, but you don't abandon your perspective or integrity to appease her. This creates trust. She knows you can handle her emotions without being destabilized by them. Because here's a secret, women don't need you to agree with everything. They need to know you won't collapse under emotional pressure. Let's return to Marcus Aurelius. He ruled an empire in crisis, with war on the borders and plague in the cities. Yet his private writings in Meditations reveal a man constantly reminding himself to maintain calm, perspective, and compassion. He wrote, If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Imagine applying that in a heated argument with your partner. Instead of getting triggered, you pause. Instead of lashing out, you consider your values. Instead of defending your ego, you choose your response deliberately. That is emotional intelligence, and a woman who finds this in a man knows she will not easily replace it. Losing it would be her loss. Sixth, using silence as a tool. Emotionally intelligent men know the power of silence. When she expects a defensive rant, they say nothing. When she tests them, they smile and wait. When drama escalates, they withdraw their energy. Silence is unnerving to those who seek control through chaos. It signals unshakable presence. It says, "I won't participate in this until you respect my peace." Silence makes her reflect on her own behavior. And it reminds her that you are not a man who can be emotionally hijacked. 7. Consistency over intensity. Emotionally intelligent men don't rely on grand gestures to prove worth. They rely on consistency. Any man can show up with flowers after a fight. Few men can show up every day with calm, grounded leadership. Intensity fades. Consistency builds trust. And trust is the real currency of attraction. Because when a woman knows she can rely on you, the idea of losing you becomes deeply unsettling. She knows you won't be easily replaced by men who are inconsistent, reactive, or weak. Let's be clear, this doesn't mean you never show emotions. It doesn't mean you never get angry or sad. It means you own those emotions. You don't blame her for them. You don't dump them on her. You don't let them dictate your choices. You become the calm in her storm. And that calm is so rare, so valuable, that the mere thought of losing it will make her rethink everything. Comment: calm, confident, unshakable. If you're ready to master emotional intelligence and lead with presence, drop this in the comments below. Chapter 4. Modern Application: How to Build an Irreplaceable Life She Fears Losing. Let's get practical now. We've explored the psychology, the history, and the emotional intelligence behind making a woman fear losing you. But theory means nothing without action. In this chapter, you'll learn how to apply these timeless principles to your modern life so you become the man whose loss is unthinkable to her. Not because you manipulate her, not because you threaten her, but because you're so rare, so disciplined, and so centered in your mission that she knows walking away is her loss, not yours. Build a mission that transcends her. The number one mistake men make is putting women at the center of their lives. This is the fastest way to kill attraction. A woman does not want to be your mission. She wants to join your mission. Your mission gives your life direction. Your mission gives you discipline. Your mission is the proof that you can lead yourself, and by extension, lead her. Modern men often think purpose is optional. It's not. Purpose is masculine gravity. Without it, you're lost. And worse, you're replaceable. Because if you have no direction, you become her responsibility. And no woman wants to mother the man she's supposed to desire. Define your mission in writing. Break it down into daily non-negotiables. Prioritize it over comfort, over laziness, over her schedule. When she sees you living for something bigger than her, she will fear losing her place in your world. 2. Cultivate physical and mental discipline. You don't have to be a Navy SEAL, but you do have to master yourself. Women are wired to test a man's limits. It's not cruelty, it's survival psychology. She wants to know, can he handle life? Can he handle me? If you can't handle your own body and mind, how will you handle hers? Train your body. Regular exercise isn't just for looks. It builds mental toughness. A strong body signals you're capable of protecting and providing. Discipline your mind. Learn daily. Meditate or journal to gain self-awareness. refuse instant gratification. Men who cave to impulse, porn, junk food, emotional outbursts, broadcast weakness. And weakness is forgettable. Strength, on the other hand, is magnetic. Historical reference. The Spartan warriors trained daily not just for war but for discipline. They lived with minimal comfort to sharpen their edge. Their women respected them not just for their victories but for their iron will. 3. Master. Emotional self-control. This is your secret weapon. Modern society promotes emotional impulsivity. It tells men to express everything without filtering or owning it. But the man who controls himself stands out like fire in darkness. Never let anger dictate your response. Never let fear rush your decisions. Never let validation seeking drive your actions. This doesn't mean you suppress emotions, it means you own them. Imagine she's picking a fight over something trivial. Most men get angry or defensive. You pause, you breathe, you calmly ask her to explain. Suddenly the dynamic changes. She realizes you cannot be shaken so easily, and that's when the fear of losing you begins. 4. Develop a life she wants to be part of. If your entire life is designed around her, there's nothing for her to join. It's all already about her. You want a life so rich, so fulfilling, that she feels privileged to have a place in it. Build a strong brotherhood. Don't abandon your friends for her. Women respect men who have the loyalty of other men. Have hobbies and passions outside of her. Music, art, business, sports, anything that lights you up. When you have interests, you become interesting. Build financial stability. Not to buy her affection, but to prove your competence. Money is freedom. A man with freedom is harder to replace. Women want to join, they don't want to lead you. If your life is empty without her, you become a burden. But if your life is full, you become an invitation. 5. Maintain boundaries. Naturally, boundaries are not about telling her no loudly. They're about living your yes so powerfully that your no is understood. Don't cancel plans to be available every time she calls. Don't explain your schedule. Don't accept disrespect to avoid conflict. If she's late consistently, you don't start a fight. You just stop waiting. If she insults you in public, you don't argue. You leave. If she withholds affection to punish you, you don't beg. You give her space and focus on your mission. Boundaries make you predictable in principle, but unpredictable in outcome. She knows you'll always respect yourself, but she can't predict how you'll react if she tests you. That uncertainty is the seed of respect and fear of loss. 6. Radiate abundance mindset. Nothing makes a woman fear losing you more than knowing you have options, but choose her. Don't mention other women, just behave like a man who knows he's desirable. Don't act jealous or controlling. That screams scarcity. Don't rush commitment out of fear. When you know you could replace her but don't want to, it changes the power dynamic completely. It says, I want you, but I don't need you. I choose you, but I'm complete without you. This mindset is rare, and it is terrifying to lose. 7. Lead without dominating. Women don't want tyrants, but they don't want passive men either. They want men who can lead. Make decisions confidently. Ask for input, but don't rely on it. Create plans and invite her in. What do you want to do tonight? Say, I'm thinking dinner at 7 at that new Italian spot. Sound good? Leadership creates safety. It also creates polarity. And a woman who feels safe following you will fear losing that stability more than anything. 8. Let her feel your absence. Absence is the amplifier of value. If you're always available, you're taken for granted. Take time for yourself. Go on trips without her. Spend time in solitude. When she has space to miss you, she realizes what you bring into her life. Julius Caesar didn't wait in Rome pining for Cleopatra. He led campaigns, built his empire, and let absence deepen desire. He can be the calm in her storm. Women are emotional creatures. That is their strength. Your strength is being the grounding force. When she's emotional, listen without fixing. When she's chaotic, remain steady. When she's uncertain, show clarity. She will test you to see if you can handle her. Pass the test not by resisting her emotions, but by refusing to be consumed by them. Would 10 always be willing to walk away? This is the foundation. If you want her to fear losing you, you must be willing to lose her. Because when you're willing to walk away from anything that violates your principles, you are unbreakable. You are the man she knows she cannot control, cannot replace, and cannot forget. Modern society teaches men to be nice, agreeable, and endlessly accommodating. But real attraction is not built on comfort. It's built on polarity, respect, and the subtle fear of losing a man whose presence is a privilege. Be that man. Have your mission. Live by a code. Master your emotions. Maintain your boundaries. Radiate abundance. Lead without apology. Do this, and you won't have to make her fear losing you. She'll do it all on her own. Comment: my presence is a privilege, not a guarantee. If you're committed to becoming the man whose absence is felt as deeply as his presence, drop this in the comments below. Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more timeless strategies on becoming the strongest, most attractive, and most grounded version of yourself. And don't forget to comment below with your favorite takeaway. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and never forget, your presence is power.